Hey guys, DLF Media Junk here with another movie review. This time I review The Blair Witch Project, a movie that was released back in 1999. And this movie, I gotta say, I just want to say right off the bat, it's a classic. And usually I'm not someone who's the biggest fan of found footage films. They never done nothing for me most of the time, but The Blair Witch is an exception, and believe it or not, I recently just started watching this movie pretty recently, like about a week ago. I mean, I've seen the bits of it years ago and didn't think much of it. I just thought of it and dismissed it as this is kind of boring. Nothing really happens. But boy, do I feel dumb for saying that now, saying that in hindsight, because all these years I never thought much of the Blair Witch because I just dismissed it as a okay, where's the beef type of deal, like the old Wendy's commercials back in the day. So yeah, I always looked at it as something that was kind of overrated and boring, whatchamacallit. But after finally getting to watch it and finally really understanding why this movie works, I take everything I thought about it back. I'm wrong. Because this movie was fucking good. Better than I actually realized. See, what this movie is about four people, documentary makers, doing a documentary about the Blair Witch. Like this, I guess you could say this urban legend type of deal, and these filmmakers, they go in the woods and let's just say hell breaks loose because everything seems fine and dandy with these people. Like they're doing all this stuff about asking people around town about the Blair Witch, and then when they finally go in the woods, then well, let's just say hell, like I said, breaks loose. Now, what happens is they become agitated, they become frustrated, they get pissed at each other, they argue, they just want and after a while going through the woods and everything, they realize they're just going in circles. And long story short, things just can get worse from there for them mentally. See, what this movie is, you don't see the creature, this witch, which when you look at it in hindsight, it works. Because when you think about it, the movie makes it more ambiguous, almost anonymous. Like, what makes this movie make you feel for these characters is their fear, their anguish, and just going completely batshit insane. And of course, that classic shot, that famous shot of that one girl crying. And of course, famous for another reason because everyone made jokes about the boogers coming. Yeah, that's gross. But I can believe these people are genuinely afraid and freaked out because they keep hearing all these noises, and it becomes a living hell for these people. And the interesting fact about this movie, if I remember correctly, I forgot the name of the director. I should have wrote it down. That's my fault. Hey, I'm willing to accept I made a mistake taking some info down. But the fact about this movie, if I'm correct, is that the director only brought a certain amount of supplies to survive on. And when they were running low and everything, that's when the genuine agitation and everything between these people started coming out. Which might sound crazy and sadistic to some, but when you look at it in hindsight, it pretty much worked and it actually brought out the genuine emotions of these people through their characters to create this believability that they're completely in the shitter. And I think it really adds to that, like the simplicity of this scary story in the woods type of deal. And I think it's brilliant how they use the woods because, one, it doesn't cost you anything to use the woods, hence the budget. And like I said, it works because you don't have to worry about paying to use locations. I think, in my opinion, this really worked, considering what they were using it for. And like I said, it wasn't a high budget film, which again proves you don't have to always make a big budget movie to make it good, because that doesn't always mean it's going to be good. Big budget films, sometimes big budget films suck, and low budget films like this, even though, like you said, you don't see anything with the creature, like I said, it helps because it lets you use your imagination. Run wild, like, what could this thing be like, and what is it that they're seeing, or it gives you this ambiguity, and I think it really helps along the way. And the fact that cameras they use, it just makes it feel like you're really watching a real footage. That, to me, this is found footage done right, in my opinion, because it doesn't feel so odd. I mean, it's not real, but I remember back in 1999 when I was just a little kid, really little, I actually started to believe this might be real stuff. But I was a young kid. I was just a kid. I didn't know any better. I didn't know if this was legit or not. But it really did build up the hype for a long time leading up to the film. The building of the hype of the film and its release. Like, I think they did fake missing persons stuff and all that, I believe. Like, they really wanted to make you believe that these people were real people. I know, I'm using my hands like I gotta speak with them. But anyway, so what happens is that the hype behind this film, yeah, some people were probably disappointed when they did see it. Like, this was kind of boring and stupid. And on the other hand, there's guys out there who didn't believe in the hype, or they didn't know much about, but they knew going in, but they still enjoyed it. You just gotta look at it from both point of views. And you know what? The hype, along whether it's good or bad, because hype can be pretty bad and pretty much ruins people's perspective on films. And I think that's what happened when I was a kid, because I expected to see more, but like I said, I only seen parts of it when I was a kid, and I just dismissed it. So I was dumb to not understand back then. Because growing up as a kid, I was into movies like Elm Street, Michael Myers, movies that you see the killer, or you see monster films that you expect to see something. But you don't see nothing with this film. And you know what? At the end of the day, the movie did exactly what it was supposed to, give you that sense of dread, that anxiety. And when you really get invested with this film, and you just don't think about it like that, you start to think, wait a minute, it makes sense on a psychological level. It makes plenty of sense, in my opinion. And I can see why this movie did work for some people. And people like me at 30 who finally appreciate this film more now as an adult and actually understands why this worked. Like, the fear, like, think about, when you watch films like this, do you ever want to go in the woods alone at night because you start hearing branches breaking, and you start to wonder if you're going to see weird shit like the weird Blair Witch symbol that made of sticks? It really gives you this sense of horror. And imagine just walking in circles in the woods, not knowing if you're ever going to make it out of there alive. And I like how they utilize a lot of their surroundings just perfectly. Like this abandoned house or something like that. It really works. But the thing that I will admit was genuinely creepy, and it was simple but yet effective, when they, at the end, when they go in the house and the Blair Witch is there, but you don't, like I said, you don't see nothing, but you know something's happening. Like in the house, you see these handprints on the wall. And that alone was fucking creepy. And once you get the understanding, like, holy shit. This makes me not even want to go into an abandoned place, but thank God I have friends to go with. But hey, that means the movie did what it was supposed to. That, like I said, I know I keep using this word, the ambiguity. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I have a weird way of talking, but hey, what can you do? But I like the idea that it gives you that creepy vibe without actually seeing the monster, because if you saw it, who knows how it would have turned out, and it could have ended up being kind of goofy in the end of the day, and it would have just kind of took you out of the film. But I like that it didn't break anything. It didn't. I'm glad it didn't break that fear factor of the film. And I'd say this movie did an excellent job. I think everyone involved, the filmmaker, and the writer and filmmaker, the director, and the people your cast. There's just four people. They all did a good job doing what they presented, and I think they really made you believe. Heck, even like I said, another simple shot. I mean, of course, it's the the director, when they're in the tent and this tent is going crazy. At least you know that of course that was the director, I believe, who did that to kind of fuck with them. I think to kind of bring that. If I'm not mistaken, he did that to. I forgot exactly what happened, but it really worked. But again, you don't know what it looks like, and like I said, the tent is getting shaken, and they're freaking out. And the guy running in person, one of them running away from the scene. Like I said, it really does the simple effect, and I like that. Like I said, you don't see nothing, but you still feel that genuine anxiety and fear and that nightmare feel of the idea of what the fuck is going on here? What is happening? Are we gonna make it out of here alive? Or are we gonna ever be able to see the day of light again? And of course, at the end of the movie, of course, they all die. Especially that last eerie, just horrifying image alone of one of them just standing in the corner, and something's gonna happen to that guy. He's done for. And the girl screaming holy shit. Usually some of that can be over the top, but this one felt genuine. She was scared to fucking death. And you can only imagine that horrifying reality that they're pretty much dead at this point. Everyone's going down because you see the cameras when it hits the ground from the camera point of view. They pretty much one of them's done for. And the film ends once you see that last shot of the camera hitting the ground and the girl screaming, and it finally stops because, like I said, the Blair Witch got to her. And, well, everyone's dead. And like I said, this movie was working for a very small budget, but also in the long run, it did do the job well. It was done the way it should be done, not half-assed or pretty much ruin the perspective of found footage. To me, this, in my opinion, this is the defining, dare I say, the defining found footage film that did it just right. Simple but effective. And I know one of the most early examples of found footage that happened was Cannibal Holocaust, and honestly, I really don't want to see that movie because considering the stuff I heard that they show real animals being killed, I'm good. Just fuck that movie. If it wasn't for that, I probably would be able to watch it, but I don't know. I just do not want to see real animals and shit being tortured and killed. So fuck Cannibal Holocaust. And if you like it, hey, more power to you, but I just do not want to see innocent creatures being killed for the sake of a film. No, fuck that. There's a reason why when people or whatever, you see animals be killed on film, most of the time it's usually fake. So at the end of the day, it's not real. Unless it's a practical fake dummy or whatever. But they really went too far with Cannibal Holocaust. So I don't think I ever want to watch that film, honestly. I don't know how... You would have to pay me millions, and even then I would still decline because I don't know if I ever want to do that. Go through that shit. But that's just me, though. Because I like animals, and the last thing I want to do is see an innocent creature be killed. So, anyway, that's enough for the mini rant on Cannibal Holocaust. And, there's, like I said, there's been found footage that came, like I said, before Blair Witch, so it's not 100% original, but the story itself and the idea, the way they did it felt more original than anything else that came before. There's The Last Broadcast, but I heard that was a bore fest, and I got curious. It's on YouTube for free, and I will admit I cheated and skipped to the end when I started reading the comment section, because I really wasn't sure if I wanted to watch that film. And honestly, I got curious. I skipped to the end of that one, and yeah, fucking stupid. But anyway, that maybe one day I'll talk about that movie, since I am talking about the Blair Witch Project, which came a bit after. If it, some say this ripped off Last Broadcast, but if that's the case, good, because that movie, I don't know, had a stupid ending. And like I said, I didn't even see the whole movie of Last Broadcast. I just skipped to the end. And like I said, I'll talk about that one day and watch it all the way through. But honestly, I don't know if I have the desire to get through that film, but we'll see. And I don't know what else to say. The Blair Witch Project is a truly unique film of the time. And I think it still, in a lot of ways, still holds up. And this, like I said, that simplicity, the way they did this film was just perfect to me, and the people that do like this film are huge fans, or people who really enjoy this film. And well, it did something for me and everyone else that saw this film. Whether you love it or hate it or you're in between. And what else can I say? This movie was awesome, and anything else that came before, even after this, it just didn't really have the same effect like Blair Witch or all that. Because it's hard to really pull off that lightning in a bottle kind of vibe. That mentality of wanting to outdo a movie that worked in its own right, but doesn't always work that way. But however, this movie did so well that, of course, I think a year later they would make Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows, which I will get to. And all I can say is this: just why? Why make a sequel to a movie for the Blair Witch Project? And that is a review I'm going to do next. So, I am DLF, Media Junk, and this has been a DLF movie review. And I'll see ya later.